Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. In this video, we're looking at question 13 on our 2012 grade 10 math contest, the Cayley paper. All right, there is one odd integer n between 400 and 600 that is divisible by both 5 and 11. The sum of the digits of n is... Okay, so if you're divisible by both 5 and 11, what can we say? Well, if 5 divides n and 11 divides n, you can say that 55, the least common multiple of 5 and 11, also divides n. So n must be a multiple of 55. Now, they're kind enough to tell me there's only one n in this particular range, so we could just find the n that sits in between, that we can find the only multiple of 55 that sits between 400 and 600, right? Now, how we go about doing that exactly? Oh, sorry, it's got to be an odd integer. Oh, I missed that. Okay. So how we go about doing this is, that's entirely up to us. I'm going to show you a couple approaches. So I know I'm looking for a multiple of 55. It's a little bit bigger than 400, so here's one way to do it. We take our calculator and divide 400 by 55. 400 over 55. And we get about 7.27. So if I round up to 8, you'll notice 8 times 55, that's a multiple of 55, that's 440, and it happens to be in this range. Okay? Now, that one is not odd, so we could instead try 55 times 9. And that's 495. And that is in this range, so that's got to be the only one they're asking about. But if you keep going, 55 times 10, that's 550. I mean, that's in this range here, but it's not odd. And if we did 55 times 11, you get 605, which is too big. So we can find n that way. Just sort of say, all right, I've got to be somewhere in this range, get close to it by doing 400 divided by 55, and then go to the next multiple and keep going until it works. Okay, so that's one approach, and that's perfectly fine. Another approach, just because these numbers here are small, is you can grab a calculator and do 55 plus 55, oh, that's 110. Add on another 55, oh, that's 165. 55 is pretty big, so it's not going to take you too long, okay, only 8 steps actually, to start to work them, to get into this range of values. Okay? 210. And you just keep going until you hit the ones you want. Okay, you'll get these same numbers here. Okay, and then you'll 605, and you'll realize, oh, this one here is the only one that they want. Okay, so there's lots of ways to do it. I would say probably the fastest way to do it is to take the 400 divided by 55. You get about 7.25. And so n has to be 55. It's got to be a multiple of 55. So n has to be 55 times k, right? Let me try and explain this a little clearer. So this is probably the more exact way to do the question. So n has to be some multiple of 55. Right? Now, what can we say about k? Well, if n is odd, you can only get an odd number by multiplying by odd numbers. As soon as you multiply by a single even, like 8 or 10, you get an even number. So k must be odd. Okay, so that's a fact we know. So 400 less than 55k, which is n, less than 600. Divide both sides by 55, and you'll get k has to be somewhere in between 7.27 and 10.90. Okay? But k also has to be odd. Can I think of any odd numbers in this range? Well, 8 is the smallest integer, 10 is the biggest integer k can be, and there's only one odd k in there, and that's 9. And then you plug that back in here, and either way we get n is 495. And what are they asking for? They're just asking for the sum of the digits. So 4 plus 9 is 13, plus 5, we get 18. So at long last, 18 is our answer. Okay? But there are certainly a number of approaches to finding that n. Counting everything out, just dividing and checking, or using some nice inequality work. None are particularly. I mean, the counting one's going to take a little while, especially if it was a much bigger range, 4,000 to 6,000. But I mean, for numbers so small, it's not that bad to work with. So there's E18. That's the sum of the digits there. All right, and well, that's it. There really isn't anything else to say about 13, so we're going to move right along to question number 14.